I'm doing a video, so don't think I'm weird.
I do think you're weird.
She already thinks I'm weird. Okay. So anyway, as some of you might know, I write books, and I started writing books a long time ago. Okay, not that long ago, only like 12, 13 years ago. Hey Max. Oh, he's coming to join us. He just decided he doesn't want to join us. So I started writing around the age of 8, and I'd write these little stories, cute little stories. They were kind of bad, but when I was around 14, 15, I found this writing website called Wattpad. I put my books up on there. They didn't get a lot of, like, as you would say, views or reads or whatever, but not for the first while anyway. I mean, getting popular on Wattpad is sort of like not really something that happens to 14-year-old kids writing rather crappy stories on Wattpad. Max, what are you doing? Don't eat that. I don't know what you're eating. Anyway, around the time when I was like 15 or 16, I was writing my series, the series that I'm still writing. It was called The True Destiny Chronicles at the time. It got featured actually on Wattpad, and it got a lot of reads and a lot of views, a lot of votes. People really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it because I wrote it when I was like 15, 16, right? It was not my best work, but it was still very nice. All of the people's comments, all of those different things, everyone was super nice. Well, most people anyway. And it really helped me in my writing growth. Yes, I have just finished rewriting The Deliverer's Destiny for like the 5th or 6th time. It's done now. I'm not rewriting it again, at least I hope not. But I thought, since, I finished it, celebrate, yay, I finished it, I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to go back on Wattpad and read some of the old comments that my readers left? One moment. As I was saying, it'd be very interesting to go back and just reread the comments that people left about my book, the earlier version, the draft that I had on Wattpad back when I was like 16, the version of my book that got featured on Wattpad. Yes, I took the first draft off of Wattpad. When I say first draft, I mean actually like 4th or 5th draft. I took it off of Wattpad, but I didn't completely delete it off of Wattpad because there were a lot of comments on this book that just meant a lot to me, and I wanted to save all these comments. So I haven't completely deleted it yet. It is going to be completely taken off eventually. So I decided it'd be fun to go back and seek some of these comments, see maybe some of the ways I've grown as a writer just based on people's comments. Oh look, in the prologue, there's the trailer that Joanna made for my book. Shout out to Joanna. Joanna, hook me up. We haven't talked in a while. I'm antisocial, I'm sorry. Go check out Joanna's stuff. Link in the description. She's a writer too. She also has a YouTube channel and a blog and a Facebook page. Alright, let's go back to the very beginning. There are a lot of comments on my prologue, not gonna lie. Stop eating things! Shout out to Joanna again, because she was my first, committed reader. She would comment all the time, and I would comment on her books all the time, and from that, we actually have this group called the League of Crazy Spammers that really me and Joanna are not exactly a part of anymore because I don't know. Shout out to the League. Joanna was my very first comment of all time back in September of 2015. She said, "It's so descriptive and hooking. Amazing." Thanks, Joanna. I hope that I have improved as a writer since I was 16. I am the one 1514 said, "I'm so going to love this book." I hope you did. Haley Warner in January of 2016 said, "You, sir, or miss, I'm a miss, have successfully worded your first few sentences in such a way that it mesmerized me. I will read on for that reason. This is description and story portrayed in a way that makes readers want to continue. This is how you write a compelling first paragraph, people. Learn from the best, like the author of this story." Thank you, Haley. I just want to say, though, I am definitely not the best. I definitely was not the best at 15, but what you wrote there, I remember it was very, very very encouraging for me as a writer, so thank you for that. That was way back in 2016. This was like 4 years ago. I don't know if you're ever gonna see this video, but thank you so much for that comment. Fire of the Dragon said, "I thought this was going to be a mediocre dragon book that would take me a few chapters to get into. I was wrong, had me hooked after the first paragraph." You know, that first paragraph of my book, like the very first, the prologue, that paragraph, it was such a great hooker, and I hope I didn't ruin that because I did change it a little bit, just a little bit. A lot of people say that that was a really great hooker, and I hope I didn't lose that. Child of the one true king. Hey, Liz. Good grief, it's only just started and it's already tragic. Speak for yourself. Go check out her books, they're really good. Link down in the description. Crazy Fangirl 1234 said, "This reminds me of the start of How to Train Your Dragon for some reason." Yes! I have succeeded in all of my life goals. Let's move on to chapter 1. I promise we're not going to go through all 40 chapters. Dark Scythe said, "Can anyone say Hunger Games?" That is probably the most common comment that I get from people is like, especially during the beginning of my book, they're like, "Oh, it's just like the Hunger Games." When in reality, what actually happens is like, I'm gonna be really honest with you guys. I wasn't really too big on like the Hunger Games franchise. When it was like super popular, I watched the movies before I read the books, so on and so forth. I didn't actually read them until after I wrote this, and so at the beginning of the book, when it's going through what people are like, "Oh, it's the Hunger Games," actually that was me trying to sort of like mirror the Roman like gladiator Colosseum sort of vibe, right? Which I will admit is like the Hunger Games. Oh, here we are. My most controversial comment that I got on my book was Style back in 2015. He said, or Style? I don't know. He said, "Sounds like a Jesus Christ / Bible rehash. As an atheist, I really hope this story isn't some Christian propaganda." I wouldn't call my books Christian propaganda. I'd like to think that my books could be enjoyed by both religious people and non-religious people. Being a Christian myself, yes, a lot of my morals and a lot of the stuff that I grew up with is going to be reflected in my writing, but I purposefully didn't make it a Christian book so that people who weren't Christians could still read it and enjoy it. And I hope that I was able to, you know, really actually capture that. And so people don't feel like, you know, I'm preaching at them in some way. The Serpentine Sea back in 2015 said, "I like the fact that Annabella's deliverer is really not the guy she thought he would be. I mean, Todd's just an average guy. He doesn't have the nerves of steel, and he has no idea what's happening." Basically, the storyline is Annabella's expecting like this great warrior to come and help her, defeat her foes, defeat her enemies, and then she gets Todd, who is not who she expected to come and be this deliverer. That's like a big issue for her in the book, is that she wanted Todd to be more than Todd was. I'm gonna be real with you guys. Todd has the same personality type. Todd, my main character, has the same personality type as me. And I base a lot of Todd's decisions off of what I think I would do in that situation, or what I would feel more inclined to do. And part of me thinks that Annabella is sort of my demanding side. We're just expecting more of me, expecting more of Todd, and not getting that. Throughout the book, she has to learn to accept Todd for who he is and understand that even though he's not the person that she expected or that she wanted, he still has strengths of his own, and with those strengths he still is capable of being that deliverer, just not in the way she expected. It was sort of, for me personally, to look back, or to just step back and say, hey, look, even though I'm not this strong warrior that I want to be, I still have a lot of strengths, and I can still be the person that I want to be, just probably not in the way that I imagined. Gosh, that just came to me now. I didn't even realize that. We're actually going to skip ahead to the last chapter. There's 40 chapters here, and reading all of those comments, especially with my slow laptop, is going to take forever. My camera is going to overheat again. So we're going to go to the very last chapter. Avoiding spoilers, we're going to see my very last chapter. I had a rather brutal cliffhanger that hasn't changed. People absolutely hate it. So we're going to see some of these comments. There are a lot of comments. Naturally, Joanna was very, very, very dramatic about it. I'm not even going to try and read that comment. Some randomer too said, "Not fair. Seriously, you're worse than Rick Riordan? Riordan? Is that how you say it? Riordan? Riordan?" He writes Percy Jackson. "This is like the first time I've got like this over a book. Please don't make us wait a year like with PJO." I'm sorry? This is back in 2015. This was 5 years ago. I sincerely apologize. I really do, some randomer. Come back. Come back. I don't know where you are these days. Lauren Liu, who also, I haven't seen you in a while. I should really hook up a lot of these people. I used to talk to them all the time. "This, I think, is the best action/fantasy story I've ever read on Wattpad." Thanks. I disagree, but thank you. "You know, most people here think they can paste a couple words and bang, you have the perfect story. And I'll be the first to tell you that this story was not perfect." But really, what story is? What I'm trying to say is, I can tell you didn't just slap this together. And I know you didn't from what you've told me. It was executed very specifically. And though I feel like smashing down a wall right now from that cliffhanger of an ending, pretty brilliant by the way, I think it left the reader in a position demanding more. If the second book was up to buy, I'd go buy it just to figure out what happens. Never give up on your writing. I think you're great at it. Remember that I said that when you get published one day. I don't know much about your journey in writing this, but it must have been a long, agonizing road. Congrats. You got there. Thanks, Lauren. 5 years later, I just actually finished the book. Now it's over. Now I got there. But anyway, thank you. Your comment really touched my 16-year-old heart. Thank you. You know, looking back at these comments were like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and my book, I despised that book. I hated it. I couldn't read it just because the writing, I didn't enjoy it at all. I mean, my second book I could pick up and I could read over and over and over. I liked my second book, but my first book, I just could never get into it. If I was like, I'm the writer, I'm coming in as the reader, I just couldn't get into it. That's why I rewrote it, mostly because I just wasn't happy with where it was, and I knew that I could write better. But all of these comments, these people, they loved the book. They thought it was a masterpiece. And I'm like, are you serious right now? I don't agree with that. I don't think it was a masterpiece at all. But all these people, they loved it. Real Faker said, I loved the ending, to be honest. And Cfowl14714 said, that was the best ending I have ever read. And David Dorsey 3538 said, dude, great story, I couldn't put it down. All of these people were saying that my book was really good. And even though, looking back, I don't think it was. But as like a 15 to 18-year-old writer, I think I really needed that, because it was able, all of these comments just boosted my self-confidence and just pushed me to become better and better and better, because I knew they were like, oh, they're being really nice, but I knew that I could get better, and I did get better. And so all of these people, all of these comments just saying that they loved my book, they hate me, but they love my book. I'm just so very grateful for all the people who read my book, who commented, who voted, who gave me all of this encouragement to keep going and to keep writing. It just had a really big impact on me as a writer, and I just don't know how to thank you guys. A lot of these comments are from years ago, and I don't even know where some of these people are. Let's be real, I don't even know any of these people. Except Liz, and except Joanna. I know you guys. If you commented on my book, The Deliverer's Destiny, whether it was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I want to thank you for all the nice comments that you left. It really encouraged me. It really helped me become a better writer and really helped me get where I am today. So thank you so much for all of your nice comments. Well, that looks like that concludes our video for today. Wattpad Wednesdays hopefully are going to start being a thing. I'm gonna have another Wattpad readings video up pretty quick here, probably within the next week, so be looking out for that. Hopefully I can, you know, start regularly making videos, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, give me a thumbs up, comment. I love comments, as you have obviously read. And if you're new around here, click subscribe if you like what you're seeing. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!